Hey guys, alright, so I have a story that I want to tell you, and I don't know how a lot of people are going to react to this, but whether it's negative or it's positive or anything, I want to try and help prevent teen girls from making the same mistake I did and not being able to do things that you should have, like go to college and have the full college experience. I was never able to do that, and I wish I did tremendously. So I'm pretty much going to tell you my story and when I found out, how I found out, and my entire story on being a teen mom. So I was 18, um, and I met John's dad at the movie theater that we worked at. I actually hired in the day after my birthday. Probably a few weeks after I hired in, we would chat once in a while, but not really a lot. So, don't ask me why I remember this date, but on March 27th, him and I hung out after work because we both had gotten out of work early. And everyone knows one thing led to another, and by the time that night was over, we were shocked and scared to death of what happened. I know for a fact that night was not the night I got pregnant. The day I got pregnant was actually March 30th. And I found out I was pregnant April 28th, almost a month after. The day I found out, I didn't really know what was going on. I knew something was wrong with me, but I didn't exactly know what it was. I was just walking through, going to my next class. I think it was right after lunch. I was walking back to class with a couple of my friends, and I just stopped dead in my tracks, and, because I was with that outcast group in school, they all looked at me like, what's wrong? And my reaction was, something doesn't feel right. Something's wrong with me. And, they thought I was completely out of my mind. So, for some reason, I said, I'm going to take a pregnancy test later. To this day, I still can't figure out why I thought to take a pregnancy test, but I did. So they're like, okay, well, whatever. So with one of my friends, I went across the street because we have a Kmart directly across the street from our high school. I went across the street and I bought a pregnancy test and went back to school with my friend. And I remember this day because it was also the day of my track meet. So as I was changing my clothes, I, peed on a stick. It's one of those digitals where you have to put in the little thing. And so I peed on a stick and I just recapped it and I threw it in my bag and I finished getting dressed. After I was dressed, I picked up the test and looked at it, and it read, clear as day, pregnant. Immediately, I started freaking out. I didn't know what to think. I was going through every emotion possible, and I started freaking out because I'm thinking, oh my god, my dad is going to kill me. My dad is going to kill me if he finds out. He is going to kill me. What am I going to do? Because he always told me, if you come home pregnant, you're getting kicked out. And that was the one thing that immediately went into my head. I'm pregnant. What am I going to do? So I immediately, I run out of the bathroom crying and not even bothering to wash my hands because that was far from my mind at the time. Half of my track mates came over to me and they're asking, what's wrong? And I showed them the test. They passed it around back and forth to each other. They're giving me all these options. Like, you can do adoption, you can keep your baby, and then the majority of them were saying abortion. That one was the biggest hurt to me because I am not pro-choice. So the thought of killing my baby was far from my mind. So they kept bringing it up, and I told them, the next person who brings up abortion is getting punched in the face. They all shut up for that. I told a couple of my close friends that I was always with at school. My best friend Cassie, she's got a channel on here. One of, she was, besides my track mates, she was my first friend that I told. And I was scared to death. I was so scared that I hid my pregnancy until September 2nd, 2009. Um, that is the day that I remember because September 1st is my grandma's birthday. I woke up, I got up to use the bathroom, and I always wore tight clothes, and I had this one hoodie that I always wore. It's black, and it had a big skull, pink skull and crossbones on it, and it was super tight on me. And I remember zipping it up, and I came upstairs to get coffee, and I leaned against the counter wrong because of how my kitchen is set up. You guys see it. I leaned pretty much diagonally, oh my goodness, across the sink to grab the coffee pot, and my stepmom said, quote unquote, "Cut the shit, you're pregnant, Samantha." After hearing her tell me that she knew, I immediately burst into tears because I didn't know what to do. I was 125 pounds still at that time. I was barely showing, and I was scared to death because of my dad. My dad still, to this day, scares the living shit out of me. And I mean that in a good way. So she told me to hurry up and get dressed. I didn't even get my coffee. She took me to the Pregnancy Crisis Center, which is where I donated all that baby food to. And she took me in there. We got all my they took all my info. They took me to a bathroom, gave me pretty much like, I guess, a cup to pee in. They tested it. It came out positive, like really fast. So one of the ladies, I don't know if she works anymore. I haven't seen her in a while. She took me into a separate room, and my mom and my foster mom into another room, and we watched pretty much, I don't really remember what this video was. It was on babies and pretty much how to handle everything. And I'm not gonna lie, the places, they are die-hard Christians. So that may be uneasy as it was being there, especially my mom finally finding out that I was pregnant. I actually thought I was only 5 months pregnant, but it turned out I was almost 7. And so my mom took me to my foster mom's, and I stayed there for almost the entire day. I was freaking out because I didn't know what was going to happen, what my dad was going to think. My mom actually told my dad, she said that he went through every emotion, because I had actually graduated high school, which is something that a lot of teen moms usually don't do, drop out. So we were still happy that I graduated and still recovering from that. And then the bomb got dropped on my dad. So later that day, my foster mom, her name is Dana. She, I was gonna help her get everything ready and start dinner with her, and she told me, she's like, "Sam, you have a visitor." And I was confused. I didn't know who would be visiting me at her house. So I went out to the garage because their door was open, and there is standing my dad, mean mugging me, and he's got the stare that me and my brother both inherit, which is like a drop down stare and you just stare. And it's very intimidating, especially from him, because he's so muscular. And, so I got my bag, and he took me home. The entire time, he mugged me from the rearview mirror, from the back seat. I still remember that, because I was still trying to shrink to the door, just trying to keep out of vision from him. So he took me home, and 2 days later, I had a doctor's appointment. My mom took me to a doctor's, which was a new place, and I actually go to that doctor's now with Serenity and all my pregnancies. They did a test on me. Again, it came out positive. They took me to the doctors, all of the doctors I talked to. They asked me, when was your last menstrual cycle, and blah, 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 and, my last period back then was back in February, so, my first due date calculated was December 3rd, and then they recalculated it, and it came out to December 25th, which was Christmas, after they recalculated and reevaluated, and they got an ultrasound. I was going on, about 6.5 to 7 months, 125 pounds. And then a week after that, I gained weight, and my belly started growing, and I'm not gonna lie, with my belly growing continuously for the remaining of my pregnancy, it was hell. It hurt so bad. Because my skin was constantly stretching from John growing, and it hurt so bad. I wanted to scream and cry. For the remaining of my pregnancy, up until 2 weeks, my doctors told me that John was going to be born special. And that was my fault, pretty much, because I didn't have prenatal care. They kept checking it. I went to weekly, 2 times every week. I went to my doctor's appointment twice a week. I had non-stress tests performed. I had ultrasounds performed. They told me that he was missing an artery in his umbilical cord, which is what sustains a healthy baby. He's missing the main artery in his umbilical cord. So for almost my entire pregnancy, I believed that my baby was going to be born special because of my fault and my stupidity. But the good thing was, 2 weeks before my due date, they found, finally, the artery that he needed in order to be a healthy baby. And I was stressed for my entire pregnancy because of what I had done. I hated myself for what had happened, and for me thinking that I had harmed my baby. I am ADD. I had been on my Concerta, which is 500, I think, milligrams of Concerta. I was on that up until, I believe, September 2nd. My entire pregnancy, I was on it, almost. And then once we found out, I was also tanning. I was tanning, I was taking my medication, I didn't get any prenatal care, I did everything wrong. But he came out perfect. He was born December 22nd, 11:31 p.m. He was born 2 days and 29 minutes before his due date. He was 9 pounds, 5 ounces, 20.5 inches long. He was perfect. He was such a big baby. Oh my goodness. He was early in everything. I breastfed him for 6 weeks. After that, I was going back to school. I was working. I couldn't keep up with his demand. Eventually, I dried out, and I couldn't sustain him. He was constantly hungry. At 7 days old, he was on baby food, jarred baby food. 10 days old, he was eating baby cereal off of a spoon. And after that, we started having to put baby food not baby food, the infant's rice cereal in his bottles. We even had to have nipples big enough for his bottles in order to get the rice through. After that, he was completely fine. He was kept full. Only problem was he was always constipated, so we had to do the corn, or not the cornstarch, the it's like the corn syrup. There, that's what it is. We had to do corn syrup and water for him to help him have a proper bowel movement. Um, at a month old, he rolled over. By the time he was at 6 months, he was sitting up. 7 months crawling. By 10 months, he was walking, and he was already in 18-month clothes. I have a bunch of pictures of him from the time he was little, and he just grew continuously. He was such a big baby. After he was born, I went into postpartum depression really bad. I couldn't take care of him. Pretty much all I did up until I recovered and could go back to school for the next semester. I slept, I went to work, and when I came home, I didn't want to deal with the baby. I didn't want him. I didn't want to, I was extremely tired having to go to school and work and do homework and then coming home and dealing with this crying baby. I didn't want to do that. I was so impatient at the age of 19. I hated being a mom. And that's the truth. I hated it. I couldn't stand it. Every time I took care of him, I would cry and tell my stepmom, I don't want to be mom. I can't do this. I can't take it. And I sunk so, she said I was so so far into depression, she didn't think I was ever going to come out of it. Until one day, I came out of it, and I started taking care of John and doing what I needed to do. She told me straight up that if I didn't get out of my depression when I did, she would have had me sign my parental rights away from him, and she would have taken my baby. And she said that to my face. She said she knew from the way how I was feeling that I would have signed my rights away. And when I think about that, that's cruel. She knew that I was in depression, yet she didn't take me to my doctor to get me medicated. I went unmedicated for probably about 4 or 5 months in deep depression. And ladies, I'm not gonna lie, it sucks. Being a teen mom sucks. I had no patience at all at that age. I was fresh out of high school. I went into college pregnant. I lost my job when John was 5 months pregnant. I dropped out of school when he was about 7 months. I couldn't take being at work and school and being a mom. When I did try and take care of John, I wasn't allowed to. Until he was a year old, I was finally able to spend quality time with him where we would play for hours together with all of his toys. We had a big game that we would play, and he had so many electronic toys, we would try and see how long we could keep them all going at once, with all of them turned on at once, and it was actually pretty fun. But thinking back, the hell that I went through with my pregnancy and being in depression, if I could change it, I would. I would have made a doctor's appointment to my doctor and got medicated to have fixed my problem. My parents pretty much raised John. The thing that sucks about that was even after I was completely fine, I wasn't really even allowed to be a mom with him. We were pretty much being raised as siblings, and that sucks. I was not able to be a mom up until I moved out, which was middle of October 2011, shortly after my stepmom died. After that, he became my responsibility. I had to buy everything for him. I bought his diapers and his wipes and his clothes and everything. Um, and now, it's like, okay, family want to help, okay, cool. But it's like when people are like, okay, well now you have Serenity. Let's take you to the stores and I will help you buy stuff. It's like, no, I'm doing it just fine on my own. Thanks. No thanks. I mean, if they want to buy Serenity stuff, I'm all for it. One less thing I have to buy. But when it comes to my main responsibilities, my kids, I know Serenity is, but John, depending on the morning, he is usually the first person he sees in the morning, and the last person he sees going to sleep. I buy his clothes, I buy his food. My dad actually bought him a couple things the other day, which was actually very nice of him. But pretty much, John is mine. And knowing that I am able to take care of him is a great thing. I wish I could have been the mom I should have been back when I was 19. I was not ready. No teen is ready to be a parent. No teen is. Whether you think you're ready or not, you are not. If you're still living at your parents' and they're still buying you your things, and you're not working, or you're not doing anything but sitting there, maybe going to college, you were not ready. At all. Um, at the time, I thought I was ready for another child. So, for almost 2 years, I tried. And still, to this day, I know I'm not completely grown up like I should be, simply because I had to give up my teenage years so early to be a mom, even though I really wasn't able to be one. Um, but yeah, this is my story, and I want to tell you guys that anything is possible if you put your mind to it. Just do not make the same mistake I did and have a baby at 8, at 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, or even 18 or 19, because you're not ready. Even if you think you are not ready for the financial burden of what a baby puts on you. One of these days, I'm going to be going through a store, and I'm going to be writing down every single thing that Serenity and John has needed over the past 4 years. And I'm going to calculate every single thing and show you guys what it is like and how much money it is to take care of a baby. Because my milk supply dried up with John, he had to go on formula. And that was 40 to 50 bucks a week on formula because he went through it so fast. And it sucked because that burden was put on my parents, my dad mainly. And I feel so horrible for it. John was my responsibility, yet him and my stepmom took care of him for me and bought the things he needed, and I'm so grateful for that. Just please think about what you're doing if you want to have a baby at a young age, because it is not worth everything to go through. It is not worth it. Wait until you're older, wait until you're married and you're out of college and you are financially ready. Because I'm still struggling, even though I have 2 kids, I'm still struggling. Sorry for being a big baby. It still emotionally hurts me. I'm hoping that this story will help teens think about what they are doing. If they want a baby and if they're trying to get pregnant now, don't do it. If you're still living at home and you're being taken care of and you don't pay for anything, and even if you don't have a job, you are not ready. Don't do it, because the financial burden goes on your parents. When you're old enough, at my age, almost 23, you guys are going to think back and wonder, why did I do that? Why didn't I wait? Because I do. I love my son, but I wish I could have waited. This is my my teen pregnancy story and what it was like being pregnant at 19 and having a baby. I hope that from this, I help other teens make a different decision on their future. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys again later.